Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at Utah Valley University. This information was also conveyed to the FBI. Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th, in the early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with those surveillance images. Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, and in the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger. Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed that roommate, who stated that his roommate, referring to Robinson, made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord. He opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler, stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. The messages also refer to engraving bullets and a mention of a scope and the rifle being unique. Messages from the contact Tyler also mentioned that he had changed outfits.
Good morning. I would just like to take a few minutes as the sheriff to express my gratitude for everybody who has played a part in this investigation. As you know, it's been a vast, a complicated, and a very, very fast-paced investigation. You're looking at people standing up here who are running on, if they got an hour's sleep in the last couple of days, they're probably lucky. It has been very taxing. It has been so impressive, speaking on behalf of the local law enforcement, to see the cooperation that we've seen in this type of case. Across the state, sheriffs, chiefs, our state partners have stepped up and have come to the call on anything that we needed. Our county chiefs have been phenomenal. Our Utah County Attorney, Jeff Gray, who's standing up here with us, has been phenomenal in leading us through this investigation. I would like to thank the federal government for their resources, their assets. Our local team here, our FBI team, has been extraordinary in helping us work through this and bring this person to justice. Most of all, I would like to thank the public, and specifically, I would like to thank the public who turned to prayers and who turned to positiveness for us. I would like to thank them on behalf of the law enforcement community, because we needed those prayers. That's what we needed to get through this. We needed your support, and you gave it to us. We needed your patience, and you gave it to us. And I would like to thank you for the Kirk family, because that's what they need, is your support and your prayers, and that will get us.
Why they talking like this guy was killed by the cops? Sounded to me like they keep saying people were being patient with us, and people were working with us, and people were not violent, as they waited for us to find who did this. what the government didn't kill him, so why would people be mad at you? I mean, I understand they want you to work fast, but what's the civil unrest about when I think some of these people don't get it. When people get upset about what's happening to, say, an unarmed person who gets killed, typically a black person, that's who they report on, but white people get killed by cops too, occasionally. The point is this, they work for the state. So people get mad at the state. But if someone gets killed by a stranger or killed by whatever this was, whatever you thought this was, that's got nothing to do with the state. I'm just saying they're like pointing at other people and other states and other situations. This is a totally different situation. Now, if a police officer pulled Kirk over for whatever and then shot him, yeah, maybe then people will be mad at the state. Let's keep going, guys. It just sounds crazy to me. Comment if you understand what I'm saying. Give me a 1 if you get what I'm saying. Give me a 0 if you don't.
So thank you, everybody, for everybody that have stepped up. We've had such a phenomenal response to this. Thank you.
I also want to give a special thanks to the Attorney General and the Department of Justice. Their unwavering support and their commitment to justice is shown true here. And without AG Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and the resources they brought to bear, we would not have been able to complete our mission. And I just want to say special thanks. It's an honor to be a part of the Department of Justice.
Last person we want to hear from is Cash Patel, tweeting out bogus, tweeting out garbage. What's up with this guy?
To our incredible law enforcement team who has worked so hard. Sheriff, I got a solid 90 minutes last night, so I'm probably the most well-rested person up here. Ladies and gentlemen, I get the microphone, so I hope you'll permit me a moment just to share. Speak freely. We will never be able to solve all the other problems, including the violence problems that people are worried about, if we can't have a clash of ideas safely and securely. Even, especially those ideas with which you disagree. That's why this matters so much. Over the last 48 hours, I have been as angry as I have ever been, as sad as I have ever been. And it was, as anger pushed me to the brink, it was actually Charlie's words that pulled me back. I'd like to share some of those. And specifically right now, if I could, I need to talk to the young people in our state, in my state, and all across the country. As President Trump reminded me, he said, you know who really loved Charlie? The youths. And he's right. Young people loved Charlie, and young people hated Charlie. Nothing annoys them so much. A few months ago, I referenced this last night, Charlie posted to social media, when things are moving very fast and people are losing their minds, it's important to stay grounded.
Grounded in hating on black people and saying how black people are DEI hires and black women are morons and don't have brain processing power. You forgot that part. I mean, that's a good part to put in there.
Turn off your phone, read scripture, spend time with friends, and remember, internet fury is not real life. It's going to be okay.
Though he beefed on internet all the time about nonsense. Well, this guy's going to recorrect. They're trying to Santa Claus this guy. The Santa Clausification of Charlie Kirk is happening right now in real time. The Captain Kangarooification of Charlie Kirk.
He again said, when you stop having a human connection with someone you disagree with, it becomes a lot easier to commit violence.
And that's the reason why
what we as a culture have to get
back. That's the reason, it becomes a lot easier for people to commit violence. And that's why most of the violence is committed by a bunch of conservatives pissed off. I mean, come on, guys. It's like 5% of these shootings are lefties. And I'm not even a lefty, but I know facts. We're going to get that number while this guy keeps talking.
to is being able to have a reasonable agreement, where violence is not an option. Now, again, to my young friends out there, you are inheriting a country where politics feels like rage. It feels like rage is the only option. But through those words, we have a reminder that we can choose a different path. Your generation has an opportunity to build a culture that is very different than what we are suffering through right now. Not by pretending differences don't matter, but by embracing our differences and having those hard conversations. I think we need more moral clarity right now. I hear all the time that words are violence.
What the hell is this guy talking about here? What is he talking about here? Man, this is bad, fam. Let me let him go about another 60 seconds.
Words are not violence. Violence is violence. And there is one person responsible for what happened here. And that person is now in custody and will be charged soon and will be held accountable. And yet, all of us have an opportunity right now to do something different. I want to thank my fellow Utahns. This bad stuff happens. For 33 hours, I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us, that somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country. Sadly, that prayer was not answered the way I had hoped for, just because I thought it would make it easier on us if we could just say, hey, we don't do that here.
Nah, you do it there. You did do it there. It happened there. That's what happened. Listen to this guy try to spin this shit. This is what I was telling you earlier. For some reason, some way, you got to blame the blacks. In a state, somehow it's got to come back to black people some way, right? Somehow they got to shoehorn us in there, man, and put us in the conversation. Before we go any further, let me let you know the Tim Black Wolfpack is dedicated, committed, 10 toes down to reporting the truth, unbiased, and not working for any political party. If that sounds good to you, go to jointimblack.com, become a member of the Tim Black Wolfpack. Charlie Kirk was white. The shooter was white. The audience was 98%, 99% white. The governor's white. White. I just wish my teeth were as white as this story. But still, somehow, even when they find the shooter right in their own backyard, homegrown in Utah, he got to come out of his mouth some way to throw in black Americans or throw in something about us, and when he says violent demonstrations, violent riots, you know what he's talking about. Why would you even talk about something that didn't even happen? How about talking about the thing that actually happened? How about talking about the actual situation? No criticism whatsoever. I got to ask you a question. We're going to go back, but I'm going to ask you a question. What about accountability? Is there any accountability on behalf of these guys at all? They love pointing at a single mom or someone in jail for weed or couldn't pay his parking tickets or driving on an unlicensed, suspended license. Some black person doing that. But they don't want to take any accountability even when they kill their own people. It's still somehow, some way, the fault of a black rapper, or in this case, a black protest that did not happen. We're going to get more into it. We're going to get more. I asked this question earlier, guys. Was I tripping? Or did it seem like they were trying to make this about us somehow? And I said, give me 1 or 2. 1 or 0. 1 is you think they are. 0 is Tim be tripping. I don't think I'm tripping, Johnson. He just did it. He's still doing it.
And indeed, easier on us if we could just say, hey, we don't. Sadly, that prayer was not answered the way I had hoped for, just because I thought it would make it easier on us if we could just say, hey, we don't do that here. And indeed, Utah is a special place. We lead the nation in charitable giving. We lead the nation in service every year. But it did happen here. And it was one of us.
Yeah.
But
yeah, give it up for that. It was. Now, kindly, get off our backs.
I want you to look at how Utahns reacted the last two nights. There was no rioting. There was no looting. There were no cars set on fire. There was no violence. There were vigils and prayers and people coming together to share the humanity. And that, ladies and gentlemen, I believe is the answer to this. We can return violence with violence. We can return hate with hate. And that's the problem with political violence, is it metastasizes, because we can always point the finger at the other side. And at some point, we have to find an off-ramp, or it's going to get much, much worse. But see, these are choices that we can make. History will dictate if this is a turning point for our country. But every single one of us gets to choose right now if this is a turning point for us. We get to make decisions. We have our agency.
What I tell you, man, I love being right. I love being right, guys. That's why you watch the Tim Black Show, guys. That's why you watch this. I told you. We guessed right again. Somehow, some way, we got to throw black people under the bus. In a state where black people only make about 2% of the population, in an event that only the stars of this show, Charlie Kirk and Tyler Robinson, the alleged shooter or killer, who are both Caucasian. Still, somehow, we got to point over there at black people some way, somehow. Make us the bad guy of the story, even though we're not even in the story. We shouldn't even be in the story. So Tyler Robinson, he's a 22-year-old. He had some beef, they say. And I'm going to be quite honest with you guys. I went down the sort of like the rabbit hole on this last night. I was up to 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And the longer this thing played out, the longer they looked for someone, the more bunny hole digging people would do. And I think they would come to the same conclusion that I did, which is, I'm not buying it. Yeah, I'm not buying that Tyler Robinson did this, and if he did, I don't buy he did it alone. As I was looking at the new content of Charlie Kirk, as some of my viewers told me to do, as some people were saying, Tim Black, check out some of the things that Charlie Kirk was saying. Of course, he said all those horrible things that I've been talking about when I put in my videos where he said a lot of things about black Americans. That's not why he got shot. He didn't get shot because he talked about black people. This guy was talking about the IDF. He was talking about the Epstein files. And folks, do you realize that Charlie Kirk has 3,500 chapters. Turning Point USA has 3,500 chapters across the country. Do you realize he does a show every day, a 3-hour show? Go look at some of the content he was putting out recently. He even in his own content was saying he was afraid for his life because he was going after Israel. He said in his most recent content, he was afraid for his life. And in that content, he said because he was going after Israel and he was going after the Epstein files. He didn't say he was afraid for his life because he said that black people don't know how to raise their kids. Or black women don't have brain processing power and need to be DEI hires. Or he didn't trust a black pilot. He didn't say he was afraid for his life because of that. He said he was afraid for his life. And he's been doing this 10 years. They held his flag, the flag at half staff for him. He got a military handling of his coffin. But the vice president, he was not worried about black people doing something to him. Black people don't take out a Charlie Kirk. Black people take out each other. Bars. Truth. Still, some reason, guys, they got to try to make it about black America. And we know the reason, because they can have no accountability for themselves whatsoever. It's ironic that Nick Fuentes, Charlie Kirk, all these people talk about black accountability. They take no accountability for themselves, even when they kill each other. A white guy killed Charlie Kirk, apparently, according to the story. That's the official story. And still no accountability, no mention of we need to do better as a people. Why are we killing each other? This has to stop. This Mayo on Mayo violence has to stop. Nothing, fam. Nothing, fam. But if that would have been anybody else that did that to Charlie Kirk. Hell, guys. Did any of you guys really need to find Tyler Robinson and know it was going to be a white guy? I mean, we already envisioned who it was going to be because we're not stupid. You know, only 3%. I was looking this up. Right-wing extremists, often overlapping with white supremacists, anti-government, anti-immigrant ideologies, are responsible for about 71% of ideologically motivated mass shootings in recent decades. 71%. Left-wing radical motivations account for about 3%. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but if you're thinking, you're looking at the number 71% to 3%, as much as those guys talk about numbers and facts and nobody care about your feelings, well, what about the numbers on this? We're not even talking per capita.
The Tim Black Show streams Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wolfpack.